Okay, I repositioned the camera so you can see. Okay, so I repositioned the camera so you can see the rest of the procedure. And I'm just gonna wipe the bedways here. So I know there aren't any chips in here, because that would be very bad at this point. I'm gonna add a liberal amount of oil on the bedways. And pay attention, I'm adding the oil on this flat and on this V, because this is where the tailstock is riding. The carriage is actually riding on this V and this flat piece. So now that that is done, I'm also gonna add oil onto this bottom carriage. This is not strictly necessary, but I'm going to do it anyway. Now I need to turn it around, position it on the bed, and just slide it in. And I need to tighten the block a little bit, because as it is now, it doesn't really allow for this to move at all. Okay, yeah, this is much better. Just wiping off the excess oil, and we can slide this back and forth very easily now, so I know it's positioned correctly. We still need to add in a few bits. I'm gonna start off with the rest of the brake. Position this a little bit closer. You can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. So this is the second half of the brake, and I'm just gonna grease it a little bit and drop it right in. And the last part to go in here is, of course, and the last part to go on the brake is this little handle. And this seems like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna add a little bit of grease in there as well. And there is no pressure wash or anything like that, because this doesn't really ride on the casting, it rides only on the nut, on the locking nut itself. And when you're trying to screw this in, remember the screw head is retained in the bottom part of the lock, so you have to pull this up, make sure that the head is seated, and then you can screw it in. Otherwise you're just spinning the screw and doing nothing useful at all. Okay, so this is done. My lock is in. And does it work? Yeah, it works. Yeah. I cannot move the barrel when this is locked. So, actually, let's not lock it, because I need to set the play on the wheel. For that I need the Pro unlocked. So next thing to do is to add this wheel here. And this goes on pretty much the same as every other wheel on the machine. So first we need to set up this vernier, and in order to do that I'm gonna need a little bit more grease. So let me just get that. Okay, so we are gonna grease first we're gonna grease the underside. Actually, I have too much grease here. First we're gonna grease the inside of this wheel. I definitely want to put some grease in the groove, because this is the groove where our spring is gonna ride, and that spring is what controls the it binds the this. Okay, let me just show you. Anyway, I want to put plenty of grease in here, and also plenty of grease on this here vernier wheel. On all sides of it. Because it will ride a bit on some of the surfaces, even though it's not a bearing piece. Okay. So now that we have grease on the wheel, we can put in this little half moon shaped spring into the groove, and now I can take the wheel in one hand and put pressure on the spring with my fingernail, and then I can slide the vernier wheel onto the wheel itself, and this retains the spring in the groove. So when I push it all together, the spring is in, and this vernier ring doesn't want to fall out. It's firmly fixed to my wheel. So now I want to take a tissue and wipe off the excess grease before it gets everywhere. And I need to rotate this lead screw so that my keyway is exposed to the top. And then I can just take my key and put it into this keyway slot, which is too narrow. Of course it is. It would be stupid otherwise. I need two hands for this. Probably a screwdriver. The key has to go in all the way. If you don't put the key in all the way, you won't be able to put in your wheel, because it will bind on the key. And now that I've pushed it in halfway, this is actually the worst situation, because I have to pull it out. So let's try this again. See if it will work. No, not really. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this here scalpel, and I'm gonna use this, not the sharp side but the blunt side, to just lightly scrape the sides of the keyway. And this acts like a sort of shaping tool and just takes any burr off. And it's probably the burr that's giving us grief anyway. So this way we should now be able to put the key in without further problems, hopefully. Let's see if this solved it. No, it didn't. So we have a problem somewhere deeper. I'm just gonna push it in as far as I can and hope for the best. And if not, then I'm gonna use this little piece of bronze and just hammer it into place. And since this is bronze and this is steel, I won't leave in any marks when I do this. It's pretty safe. Just don't kick it on the paint. The paint will not be happy about it. So now I can put on my wheel and make sure that the key is engaged. And now that my wheel is on, I just need to put on this nut, which holds the wheel in place, and it also takes the slop. It actually locates the lead screw to the casing of the tailstock, and it takes out any slop in the lead screw itself. This is not critical here because the barrel itself has no way to compensate for the wear in the threads. But still, you don't want this to be loose. You want it to rotate just freely, but not with any slop. So this is how I'm gonna set it up. And to lock it in, I'm just gonna use this. Oh no! And to lock it in, I'm just gonna use this grub screw that I just threw on the floor, because no project is complete until you drop something on the floor. And of course it ended up under a pile of boards, and I had to move them out of place to get to it. And I just put a dollop of grease on this set screw. And now I'm gonna put it in. Tighten it. This still turns very lightly. I don't feel any slop. I'm just gonna tighten the nut a little bit more now that the set screw is in. And this. Oh. Yeah, this is not tight at all. We want this a bit tighter than that. So let me just pull this out again. Add a bit more tension. And now this is the way I'm gonna put it in. Just a couple of degrees. From where it binds. Okay. Okay, so now I don't have any slop in much slop in the back side, or I do maybe. Still seems I have a lot of slop. Let me try taking this out a bit further. For a part that is non-critical, the setup sure takes a long time. Okay. Hopefully this is the last. No, it's still moving in and out. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong.